Oi, nice R1. Back in my day, I used to ride an R1. Got it straight after my test.
Yeah, but this isn't.
Oh, you gotta be careful with those things. They'll kill ya.
I don't think.
Oh yeah? I hit a wet leaf and had to lay it down.
Really?
Yeah, sent me back into the... sent me to the back of a truck and broke all my teeth.
That sounds.
Yeah, don't ride anymore. It's just too dangerous. We call them donor cycles.
That's a shame. Well, I don't have to worry about any of that since this is an R125.
Oh what?
It's a 125 beginner bike.
Oh, so you're a poser then. All those fairings but can't go faster than a Grom. What a waste of money.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the...
There is a common misconception amongst the older crowd of motorcyclists that a small bike with sporting aspirations is a complete waste of time and money, and that all you need is an old Honda CG125 or Yamaha YBR125 and immediately ditch them for a real bike as soon as you get your license. Which made sense back in the days of easy license progression, cheap fuel and relaxed attitudes to safety, but in a modern climate this just doesn't make much sense to a large portion of riders. Plenty of riders are limited to a 125 based on their age, budget or skill level for extended periods of time, and therefore investing more in a premium 125 over a budget one makes sense. The CG and YBR, experienced riders praise so highly, can't even hit 70 miles an hour on flat ground, so if you're ever to progress to national speed limit roads, these bikes are out of the question. On top of this, redlining those bikes to even stay safe on those roads for such a long time will severely limit the life of the engine, destroy your fuel economy, and vibrate your joints to pieces. The gap in the market used to be filled by two-strokes as they were able to produce significantly more power for the same engine capacity. However, emission regulations as well as market pressure to build more reliable and cheaper to run vehicles due to the decline of the global economy post 2008 forced these options off of the market. Honda saw the writing on the wall early and began selling a liquid-cooled, fully faired version of a chopped-down CG as the 2004 CBR 125R. At the time, this became the fastest four-stroke 125 on the market, with some claiming a top speed of anywhere between 70 and 81 miles an hour. So when the axe finally fell in 2008, you realistically had two options as a new rider. Number one, an aging and highly restricted version of the Aprilia RS 125, which would not be a very economical purchase but could last you well into your A2 license. Or a now fuel-injected CBR 125R that still feels more like a budget bike but also only costs as much as a budget bike to run. Aprilia and Yamaha finally realized that this wasn't a fight that they could win, when the average customer could barely afford to buy a Freddo, and so they paired up with Derby to create the RS-4 125 and YZF-R125 to replace the TZR125 of days gone. So how does the baby R1 compare with the old smoke machine and the R-line generally? Well, that depends on your perspective. 15 horsepower isn't going to rev your heart, and the bike feels like a toy. That is to say, the whole thing feels hollow. Like when you open a big bag of crisps only to find most of it was just air. Wait, that's exactly what this bike is. You remove those massive boomerang fairings and you'll quickly discover the bike has nothing in it. No wonder it gets blown about so much. It's just a massive sail. Though to be fair, that is actually what you need in a beginner bike, minus the whole getting blown about part. I have dropped this thing on countless occasions and each time nothing happened. A car even rear-ended me and the car was written off. You might think that this balloony boy is all form over function, but I reckon that all that plastic is exactly what has made this thing so indestructible. You see, the panels are actually quite thick and layered on top of one another in a way that absorbs the impact and releases it outward before it even has a chance to breathe on anything metal. You can throw this thing to the ground and pick it up like a bicycle and it will be just fine. I've done it many times. Not too long after I gave my sister this bike, she decided to have a jousting match with a Toyota Yaris and came away with only a dodgy knee. She's fine now, but unfortunately the bike lies rusting in someone else's back garden, patiently waiting Valhalla. I genuinely think this design is genius and more manufacturers should adopt it. If you compare it to its actual rivals of the time, however, you will very quickly understand why this is the bike of choice for 125cc racing classes, like Freetech. Its wide tyres allow it to be much more stable than the skinny CBR and opens it up to much better tyre choices. Its aggressive riding position encourages sporty riding with the weight and suspension to match. The fact that it pushes the very limit of the learner category on power means that to this day it remains one of the fastest. It is a big fish in a small pond, but putting it into a big pond does not mean this little one can't dance. Filtering is a breeze thanks to its extremely narrow profile, and it allows for some very interesting storage methods. 99 miles per gallon is very achievable and the aftermarket is insane. All this means, in the unrestricted category, the R125 competes with commuter bikes such as the Inazuma, CB500, etc., but it comes out on top. If you're in central London, keep an eye on your mirrors because guys on these bikes tend to be filtering through much quicker than you. They also tend to be used as stunt bikes thanks to that lightweight and aftermarket. This also means that they are very high on thieves' priority lists and you should invest in some very heavy security if you buy one, you aren't going to be able to find much in the way of hard luggage or racks, but since the R125 plastics are so easy to come by, there's absolutely no shame in sticking some soft luggage on it if needed. The pillion seat is really hard and the pegs are a bit shit, so I'll only use this for passengers in a pinch, though this has never stopped my fellow R125 rider, Rev or Die, from taking his passenger out regularly. Speaking of, what happened to you, man? I used to love watching your stuff. Well, I guess I don't have room to talk there since it's looking more like I upload annually these days. I haven't given up completely on these videos, however, changes in my personal life have meant that I don't really get the time or space to write and record as much anymore. However, if you enjoyed what I made, then please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you whenever the next one goes up, I guess.